Okay, we're here. Can everybody hear me okay? I see a few people have joined us. So, Duke Seb, actually on time. Amazing. I don't know why Kevin's chat didn't show up here. Me can hear. All right, so me can hear. Duke Seb says, Simulator Adventure says, can hear. Does it sound better than the other streams did? It friggin' better. It absolutely should sound better than it did previously. Let me see here. Live chat. I don't see Kevin's chat coming up in this bot. Let's see why. Huh, that is super weird. Did it get like flagged? Let's check. I'm gonna load the stream on the iPad. Got a few people watching, which is cool. Very cool. I wish YouTube would just default to like all messages, not the No, Kevin, you shouldn't be banned. I don't know. Let me see. You're not coming up on my widget, my chat widget. So I can't I can see you in the chat. Oh, there you are. That is so weird. I don't know why yours didn't come up at first. Okay, you're not banned. You're there. You're coming up. Awesome. Sound is good. Not sure if it's different to last week. It should be a lot better. Different noise isolation algorithm, but I couldn't use that noise isolation algorithm due to the microphone I was using. So Kevin knows, and a few who've been on the live streams or the channel before, they know I was using the Sennheiser MKH416. Well, this is not the box for the I almost drop it, for the Sennheiser MKH416, but rather go to our overhead. This is a Brad Pitt, what's in the box moment. The product's not actually in the box anymore because I'm using it. I'm using the Sennheiser MKH50. So, Marques Brownlee, who hilariously, if we go to the iPad, is coming up as a suggested video on the top right. He uses the mic I was originally using, the MKH416. It's the wrong mic for indoor YouTube creation because these wow. Don't think I had enough coffee today. The 416 is not a good microphone for indoor recording or indoor content creation if, and this is the big one, if you don't have a sound treated studio. Now, here's the problem with a YouTube set. A YouTube set, especially one with a top-down camera, is going to have like a hard surface. My voice went to the right side for a second, then you said the audio balance. I mean, that's weird because, only lasted a second. I'm in mono in terms of sending audio. Like I'm looking at the VU meter. Hang on. Let's go pure inception for a second. Let's see. Can I show this? Yeah, so like if you look here, it's the exact same because like I have it wired in mono, but there's no splits. Like it I don't know. OBS is weird. Things are weird. I don't know. Weird is weird. Interesting. But yeah, Marques uses the 416. Can I take this thing down to show you guys without breaking everything? Because it's not like connected, so I can probably. Don't break your YouTube set live on stream. Oh, okay, we got the cable out. And we got our microphone. Okay, so here. And now my overhead camera shaking. I'm going to take the wind muff off for a moment. I'm going to show the problem with this microphone. The big issue with this mic. So, sorry if the camera's wobbling because I literally just moved everything. So you've got this piece on the top. It's like a U shape, which is fine. But on the sides of the 416, you have these interference tubes. Now, the way that people have explained this microphone is that the interference tubes are really good for canceling out things on the side. So when you're a new creator and you hear that, you think to yourself, well, I've got a, like if you're streaming in your room or whatever, you've got a computer to the side, which has a hum, or you got a fan, or you got like air conditioning or whatever. But here's the bigger problem. And this was plaguing me because, and I should have figured this out a long time ago. Kevin says, I find it upsetting that you use your Stream Deck without the stand. When I work remotely, I tend to put the Stream Deck like on the table because I don't want to bring the stand with me when I work remotely. So this is just muscle memory. When I use the XL Plus or the Plus XL or whatever the frig they call that thing, there is no stand. It's just a chunky unit. But anyway, let me get back to this so I don't detract here. The problem with this microphone and something Marques, and you know what, if you really listen carefully, I'm gonna like, this is a very expensive pointing stick. If you listen to Marques's videos, you'll notice that like there's some like weird garble in some of his videos. And I'm going to explain why and what the problem with the way the narrative behind the MKH416 is. It's not a bad mic, it's a great mic. The problem with this microphone is that if you're in an untreated room like this room, like I have tile floor below me, I've got like not high ceilings, but I've got this big old counter and I've got the wall here. There's no treatment anywhere. Partly because I might move the set to another room and I don't want to like invest in like sound treatment for this space because it's kind of in the way of my living space. So, you know, there's that. But here's the thing. If you're talking into the top of the microphone, you have these tubes that can cancel out things that are coming in from the side. But when you're in an untreated space, do you know what's coming from the sides? Your voice, because it's bouncing off everything. It's bouncing off hard surfaces. It's bouncing off the wall. So what happens is you might have the mic like positioned out of frame and it's catching your voice, but then the echo is trying to get canceled out by these interference tubes, right? Like these things. So the problem becomes you end up phasing out. And then for me, I didn't know better. I was struggling with this for a while. And the problem is that I was trying to use like AI voice isolation to get rid of the reverberance of my voice, right? Which makes sense in an untreated space. But then you've got the algorithm trying to figure out what the hell the cancellation of this thing is doing. So I was struggling to EQ my videos. So now I'm using the MKH50, which it has like there's kind of like a small piece of it. I can't take it down because I'm using it right now. Here's the thing. So at Simulator Adventures, so he says, makes sense. I rarely see those things in videos. Well, you wouldn't because unlike the MKH50, you're not seeing it in this video because it's out of frame, right? It's actually jerry-rigged to my camera with a spider crab. I just realized, oh, that's funny. See where your package is on the map. I ordered like a cold shoe to 5/8 thread adapter so I can just slot the mic on there, and it's got like it comes with a shock mount so you can just adjust it and turn it so you can get like proper positioning. And then I don't have to use this super expensive spider crab adapter thing to mount the microphone. I'm using it temporarily right now. So I'll probably get a knock on my door during the stream, which is always fun. So, yeah, let's talk about that. Also, if you saw the title of this, there's a Patreon. It's not paid. I'm going to make this abundantly clear that as of right now, the Patreon that I set up is not paid. It exists for content that either I don't want to share on YouTube because it's going to mess with the algorithm. Because if I just start posting randomness on YouTube, the algorithm won't know what to do with my content. So I don't want to post a bunch of stuff to YouTube. Duke, I'm going to get to your comment in a second. But what was I going to say? The chat always distracts me. You jerks. Yeah, so the Patreon, I don't want to post a lot of just randomness to the YouTube channel because it's going to mess with the algorithm, and I want to keep that as clean as possible. The other side of that is there's the copyright issue with YouTube. Like if you're in the creator space, you know that lately the AI overlords and the copyright / demonetization / outright destroying channels, like banning them entirely, has been a very hot topic online. And I don't want to get subject to that. So if I need to do something that involves copyright material, it will go on the Patreon. And at this juncture, I'm saying this carefully, at this juncture, it's free. Free, like to the point that you don't even have to sign up for an account. It'll just work, right? You could just view the content. And then if you want to make a comment, I might post a long form video and I'll link the Patreon for a certain thing. And then you can watch that on Patreon, come back to YouTube and comment. If you feel so inclined, you want to comment on the Patreon, you could always make a Patreon account, comment there for free. So that's why that exists. Duke is asking, I was reading on Reddit this week that Bell might be going CGNet. Did you hear anything about that? Yeah, I heard about that a while ago. It's the cheap way to get IPv6. That's my understanding. I could have that totally wrong, but that's what I've interpreted from what I've read about it in the past. Between all like the layoffs of these telcos, like I saw the Rogers thing, which is insane. Not surprising, but insane. But between that and the cost-cutting measures, it's like, just invest in your business. Like, come on. You know, Bell drives me nuts. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I know that at the moment, they're doing construction in my area, and they're rolling out Telmax, which is another fiber provider that doesn't use Bell's lines, obviously, because they're doing construction. So is there a chance I do a video about it? I don't know. Maybe if someone from Telmax reaches out, we can coordinate an installation and I can try it for a month and run it through my Cloud Gateway Fiber, which is my home network essentially, and see how that goes. Kevin K says the Tech Mixer empire is expanding. It is. But Kevin also knows that there's a video I've been working on for like just short of 2 months, and actually the rest of my day after the stream is going to be devoted to like really putting the final pieces of that video together. I got a sponsor for it, and I've said this on the channel that sponsors, I'm reluctant to take a lot of sponsor deals because I want to make sure I believe in the product, and the developer of this product, hardcore. I'll put it this way. No, jackass, it's not Elgato. Yes, Duke, I'm calling you a jackass because you knew when you sent that message that it was that I was going to react like that. So I'm just going to take you off screen. I'm not going to give that attention. No, the sponsor is a piece of software, and it's something that okay. The video is about something that nobody talks about, that anybody who owns a Mac, an M series Mac, and that includes the MacBook Neo, anybody who owns those machines can take advantage of this. Apple has, I won't say they've gatekept it, but they've made it pretty hard to access this part of the processor. But what's dope about it is this developer found a way to not only use it, but expanded the capability of the things you can do with Apple Silicon. And I've been using the software now for, I want to say, a month. It's funny because I was doing a video about this specific function, and then, you know, as Duke mentioned Reddit, I opened Reddit, and because I follow a lot of video production stuff on Reddit, it served me an ad. So I reached out. I actually reached out. And so something about the Neural Engine and the Secure Enclave, you completely missed it. Nope. Not even close. You'll see. You'll see when the video comes. But the thing is, what's crazy. Well, here's the thing. Apple's never gonna allow you to access the secure enclave because it's secure. Like, come on. No, I'm not gonna give away what it is, but I'm gonna say this: that the sponsor, gave me free keys for me to obviously use it. But I'm gonna be real, just to support him. When I install the program to do some testing on this MacBook, this M3 Max, I have a second profile on this computer for like the live stream and that. I'm just gonna buy the key again because I believe in it that much. Even though I could just reach out to the dude and be like, "Yo, I want to send a key," and he will. He doesn't care for me. He doesn't care at all. But I'm super excited about that. So, but part of that video has to go on Patreon. Specifically, the conclusion of that video has to go on Patreon. I will not be able to post that to YouTube. Kevin knows why. And if DJ Marky D or Mark Harnum or whatever he wants to refer to himself as, decides to come in the stream, he'll even know why it can't go on YouTube. And that'll become very clear when I put the video up. I've spent a good amount of time I'll systematic audit. I'm gonna get to you in a second. But yeah, it has to go there. But Duke, to answer your question, what's with the secrecy? I want you to watch I'm gonna cuss. I want you to watch the flipping video. That's what's with the secrecy. So yeah. Systematic audit. Hello, brother. Not too sure if you remember me. This is Mr. For Your Sister. That is my content watching channel. This is a channel I have faceless videos on. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah. So that video is coming. Simulator Adventures is in here as well, I believe. And Simulator had a problem we were talking about on the last live stream. I just realized I didn't copy that stuff over. Hang on. I might have to. How am I going to do this? So, Simulator had this issue where he has an Elgato, I think like a 4KX, and the color reproduction's not right during the live streams, if I'm understanding that. So we've been talking on Discord, and he sent me some clips, which, I can still get them. Sweet. You know what? I'm going to download these to my phone, and I'm going to airdrop them to the Mac, and then we can take a look at what's going on. And yeah, luckily I'm on a semi-fast connection. I say semi-fast, it's 8 gig. And my Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi 7, so this shouldn't take too long to grab. I already got one of them. Yeah. So outside of the channel thing, Simulator, who says that it's a real headache regarding the clips. So, how's the sound? How are we sounding at the moment? Okay, I've got the clips here. And thank God you labeled them, because when you do stuff on iPhone, it's just a hot mess. Simulator, you're getting the audio balance thing. I think it's your end. I honestly believe it's your end, because I'm looking at the meters and they've been showing left and right have been consistent that I'm sending. If anybody else who's watching can identify if it's the same thing on your end, let me know. But it shouldn't be bad. If you're talking about the live video, you sound great. Yeah. So systematic audit, seeing as you're commenting and listening, is the audio balance like the left and right channel? Like, are you getting me kind of missing in one speaker or the other? Because that's what Simulator is saying is happening. And I am still here. I am just turning on AirDrop so I can receive these clips. Okay. It's a little harder to do this. Oh, no, there we go. All right, there's my computer. And there's our iconic Apple beep. And I bet you it's asking me if I want to accept it. Will this menu go away? Yes, I want to accept it and save it to download. So there we go. All right, so those are on the way. You sound stereo to me. Well, okay, so if I'm coming through both speakers, then that's fine. Lockpick. Hey, well, look at that. Yeah, I'm here. Lockpick, do I sound better on the stream? It's not that. Sometimes at the end of sentences, the audio remains only in the left or right. Oh, I know why it's doing that. If that's the case. At the end of sentences, you know why it's doing that? Because I am still running a form of noise isolation, and I bet you it's tripping balls. Can I change? Let me see something here. I'm going to try something. Okay, let's see if that fixes it. So now I've actually set it to mono. But now am I only coming out of one speaker now? Let me know in the chat. Lockpick says sound good here. Let's see. Okay, but that's based on the old comment. Let's see. Okay, you're still on both speakers. Okay, so let's see. I locked it to mono. Maybe it's that new... That's fine. Okay, so it's OBS and it's weird noise isolation. Okay. I'm going to mute my mic for a sec. I just want to check something stream-wise. One sec. Okay, so that should be good. Yeah. I think I'm going to finally switch over to Apple and pull out my last hair, but I'm waiting for the end of the year when I can play around with it for 120 days and purchase it off Amazon. Yeah, because you can always do the... Maybe you'll have to rewatch a stream with headphones to see it. Yeah, you know what? I actually, and I don't really say this often, but before I hit stream, I start recording. If it was you, why would Simulator be the only one with the problem? And that's why, and see, Duke, you're right. And that's why I assumed it was a Simulator issue. But if I agree with you. But when I switched it, he noticed it immediately. I have extremely sensitive ears. Okay, well, fair. Okay, so, I mean, if this fixed it, that's good. I did hear it once he pointed it out. Okay, so if the switch was just so in OBS, you can set the, you can lock it, like there's a checkbox in your advanced audio settings to set it to mono. Yeah, so there's a noise isolation algorithm. I'm reading the comments before I throw them on screen. This is hilarious. You guys are awesome. The irony of Simulator having sensitive ears is hilarious. That's awesome. I like that one. I was responding to systematic audit. Yes, so the playing around with 120 days. Yeah, there's the what do they call that? The holiday shopping return window. So you get a little extra time. Yeah, just if you buy it from Amazon, like I know that Amazon is kind of terrible. Yeah, you get to return it by January 31st. But do us all a favor if you do that. Just keep the thing in pristine condition and make sure you wipe the machine properly. Like no MDMs or multi-device management. No, make sure your iCloud's logged out. Make sure Find My Mac's turned off. Like all that stuff. Because I see it on Reddit so much. People are like, I bought this MacBook off Amazon and I'm locked out and Amazon won't help me. So like, you know, just do the world a favor. If you're gonna mess around with it and possibly return it, then do that. I obviously recommend if you're gonna buy a MacBook and you're waiting a bit, versus buying something that just came out, checking the refurb store from Apple.com and buying AppleCare on a MacBook, which is like, it's a no-brainer for the amount that AppleCare costs versus what it costs to fix these things. And also, like, you're not going to a mom and pop shop if for some reason you get a defective M series processor. Like, they're not going to have access to that. And even if they did, they're not going to know how to desolder that and, you know, clear up all the serial numbers and all that stuff. So, yeah, there's all that. We were talking about simulator adventures, so I'm just going to take your clips, new folder, let's call you simulator adventures. All right, let's go in here and let's switch to desktop. All right, so here is the problem. I have no idea what you're talking about. I would have my own external storage. I'm not too sure about paying for iCloud. That's not what I'm referring to, by the way. You ain't gonna find anything right now. Also, out of everything, I've been doing lots of testing, but didn't send all the details. Wow, there's a lot of chats that came in. Duke said, this will be around October, November. Yeah, that's what he was saying. I'm not so systematic. Let me be clear here about this. I'm talking about the actual computer. Like, yes, you're going to be using an external, but you're going to have to set the computer up. And there are defaults like Find My Mac, and if you sign into iCloud, or if you create an iCloud account if you don't already have one. The problem is that if you don't do the steps to wipe it correctly, even if you use mainly external storage, you're still going to have to set the computer up upon receiving it. By default, it's going to lock things up if you were to try to return it or sell it. So you got to make sure you follow the steps. Like when I returned the MacBook Neo, I had to make sure Find My Mac was turned off. I had to make sure that my iCloud was signed out, and then I wiped the machine entirely. They make it really easy, but like macOS in general, just a little. Well, all operating systems these days are just a touch convoluted. Duke, no, we did not, and we can definitely talk about that. I'm down for that conversation. But back to this comment from Systematic. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but you're gonna have to make sure you do that because it's just a lot of people think, oh, I can just return it as is. No, you gotta do the steps. It's a whole thing. So be mindful of that. Just for consideration of people who may pick that up later used, right? Okay, but let's go to, let me take the chat off screen for a moment. Just for a second, I want to switch to desktop. So we got two clips here. So we got a native capture from the PC. This is Simulator Adventures stuff. So this is what it typically looks like. Okay, let me pause it here. And specifically, Simulator, if I remember correctly, you were saying that the reds looked weird. Right? Now this is the Elgato. Let me mute this. So if I look at the red, if I switch between the two, the Elgato looks a little more vibrant. Like specific, you know what? Here, let's just do this the proper way. One sec. Okay, so this is the gaming PC. And then this is the Elgato Stream PC. So I'm going to go to about 4 seconds on both. Okay, so on the native recording, look at the green, look at the red. That's the first thing I noticed. And maybe even this yellow. If I switch... Okay, that's close. So this is the Elgato capture. There's that yellow, there's that red, there's that green. And the native, it's a little more muted. Like, it's less saturated. To be honest... Okay, so... the red looks brighter. The red looks weird, but it's also brighter for sure. I can deal with the brightness. Can I be honest? This just looks like it's saturation. Yeah, let me, you know what? Yeah, Duke, you're right. Let me put them side by side. Hang on. So let's go left. Let's go right. And... okay. Look at the license plate. I see Jaggies on the native, but that could just be the frame that I froze on. What am I looking for in the license plate? Simulator, let me know. Yeah, I'm not sure what to look for in the license plate. Does anybody else see it? It kind of glows. Oh, okay, I see. That I think that's that's that might be gamma. What am I supposed to be looking for? Yeah, that's a thing, Duke. That's what I'm wondering too, because I'm looking at it. I don't see what's the problem. Okay, so here's the issue, Duke. So the Elgato is this one, and this one is the native. If you notice the native, the red, like, here's the big tell for me. Look at the shade of red, or the, I guess the hue, I guess the shade of red, sure, that this is versus this, right? It's subtle. I feel like the native just isn't saturated compared to this one. Um, Gamma can be corrected easily in OBS. Yeah. Systematic Onyx says the one on the left looks like Ferrari red. The one on the right looks like Mazda red. It looks a hint of purple there. Which one, Simulator? I'm assuming you mean the native, or you mean... The one on the left has a slight purple tinge. Okay, so the one on the left is the Elgato, right? So this is the... So for everybody watching, the Elgato is this one. The native out of OBS, I'm assuming, is this one, right? All right. So they want more saturation or no? Or not? It's almost like the hue has changed. Looks native. The native looks identical to my monitor. Yeah, so it's you got to bring down the saturation on the Elgato. That's the thing. That's what it seems like, which might be introducing this like purple hue. I kind of see the purple hue that you're saying. When I do that through OBS, the red completely changes. But how much are you changing it? Like, you got to go down by like decimal points. Like, don't use the slider. If there's a number, just double click on it and then just reduce it by like decimal points. Like, you're talking. That's the problem with messing with saturation in something like OBS, is that you gotta only by. I'd even go like 0.02. I would literally go microscopic. Like, it's. I know what you're saying. I mean, okay, so subjectively, in my opinion, Duke is kind of nailing on the head what I was gonna say, and that's not a. Yeah, it's not a thing. So this is probably normal. I just have to deal with it in post. Yeah, like if you're gonna throw this into Final Cut or into DaVinci or Premiere, you probably just deal with it in post. I mean, it's not the end of the world. And also, like, GPUs are super fast at doing that adjustment, that color adjustment on the fly. So it shouldn't impact too much. But I mean, I want to go back to something here that was said. Systematic said the one on the left looks like Ferrari red. This is my thing. And this Simulator, this might upset you. I actually prefer the image on the left. And here's why. Here is why. You're noticing it because you're a content creator, right? You're super dialed in, as am I, and I get it. I completely understand the wanting to get this like picture perfect. But if I watch this on my phone or on my TV, apparently TV is like huge, especially for longer form content. That punchiness is gonna satisfy an audience a little bit more, especially with gameplay footage. Because like it's not like this is footage from like IRL driving content where it doesn't look realistic. This is a subjective opinion, so you can feel free to tell me to F off, because you know this is just like how I look at it. Let's see. Even if the colors and the car's paint jobs aren't accurate to what they see in their game. Yeah, but you got to remember something, that like different people are gonna have different settings on their monitors too. I get what you're driving at. Sorry for the pun. That was awful and unintentional. Um let's see. Not throwing shade, and I think people with OCD have a manage on a lot of things, but are you OCD? Who's saying? Oh, systematic audit. Simulator Adventures, not that I know of. I thought, for some reason, I thought that comment was aimed at me, and I'm like, what did I do? uh, yeah. This is a new setup, so I want to make sure it was perfect. Okay, now that motivating factor, I can completely understand. That is frustrating. You spend a bunch of money on something, and you want it to be good out the box. Because ultimately, and this is a content creator thing too. Duke says perfect is the enemy of good. Yeah, just look at my channel. I take forever, and it's far from perfect when my stuff comes out. But here's the thing. Here's the problem: is like when you shoot something, you want, like when you're shooting with a camera, for example, you want your lighting and your exposure to be as close to perfect as you can, and you don't want to do the fix it impulse thing. It's one of those things that in simulator, I get the narrative of like I bought everything, I set it up, it should just work. I think Elgato's definitely doing something to quote enhance the image. I'm speculating at best. Maybe there is a setting that we're missing. At which point now you ask, so you guys think don't adjust it? Honestly, I wouldn't. I'm gonna ask. This is funny because systematic audit made a joke about it earlier, but are your eyes as sensitive as your ears? Because we were talking about the mono thing. Systematic audit. It looks good to me, but I have normal eyes. Oh God. Oh boy. The stream is getting off the rails. I actually bumped saturation and brightness in post already, but it doesn't affect the reds in the same way. That's the thing, is like, Duke says I wouldn't even be focused on that. So, systematic, let me ask you, or systematic, sorry, simulator, let me ask you a question. Do you have a video on your channel at the moment where it has this effect on the full video, or like something that you didn't go into post and desaturate a bit? I'm curious. So I want to pull it up on stream and let's see if it from a gameplay perspective. Like I think like the car purists are going to be like, that's the wrong red, and I can understand that. Oh, I have not yet recorded with the 4K X4 video. Okay, well, then that makes sense. I know why. It's because you want to get the settings like dialed in. I mean, like I'm looking at this from a distance on my other monitor and like my preview for OBS, and then I'm looking at the screen itself. I think this one punches out better. Yeah, like look, if I'm scanning through, like you see the motion blur and all that stuff. And the thing is like, as much as we want, nice crash. You know what? Here, let's do this. 17 was where we're at. Okay, I kind of see it here. Like it's pretty bright. We got a lot of comments coming in. Let's see. At the end, it's definitely too bright for me. That's meant to be a robot van like the new ones in China. Oh, okay. Here, she said at the end it's too bright for you. I think I know what you're referring to. Let's see. Yeah, if you look at, yeah, like this. See, okay, this is where I would be upset too. Okay, lockpick. You'd crash less if you spent less time worrying about the color and more time staying in your lane. Oh, God. You know what though? I can appreciate here's the thing. I get that there's a narrative that seems to be developing about like OCD or like being a little too picky or whatever. And just tell people that you've got a ceramic coat, LOL. You clayed your car, it was a test recording. Okay. Here's where I would actually be a little bit miffed. I wish I could zoom. I'm going to try to zoom this. Hang on. Going to attempt. QuickTime is not great. Okay, so this is the native recording. So you see the shadow fall off here, and there's like a slight reflection there. On the Elgato from a distance, this is going to be very hard. That's what she said. Oh God, what does the stream become? Hang on, can I switch? Yeah, let me try switching here. Okay, so on the native recording versus this, there's like a little reflection there. You can still see it on the Elgato, but it's more pronounced on the native recording. The thing is, when you get into the content creation thing and you're spending a lot of money and time and you're wiring stuff and you're getting stuff in and you're like trying to make it all work, things like that happen and you're like, come on. Like, Simulated Adventures, what did Gemini tell you to do? What are you talking about, Duke? I followed everything, even tried different HDMI cables. Yeah. Well, remember something. I don't think a different HDMI cable is going to give you like, it's not going to change your color reproduction. It's either just going to work or not work, or if it is going to change your color reproduction, it's going to completely mess up the whole scene. Like your car would be like purple. You know what I mean? The trees would be blue. Like it would be like a whole hot mess. Yeah. Yeah, Duke, what were you talking about? What did Gemini tell you to do? Are you inferring that they used like AI? Cuz I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I don't think HDMI cables is the issue here. I think it's a Windows setting. You have access to a Mac? I'm pretty sure that 4K 60X, if it's the outboard one, should work on Mac. I would try it there and see what happens. To be honest, the way Microsoft and Windows has been lately, if you've been keeping up with that whole thing, it's been it's been the hot mess. I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine a couple hours ago that his start menu just stopped working. Duke says, I was saying with Gemini OBS settings to correct this. I think too many cooks in the kitchen. I do, but it's relatively old. How old is relatively old? Because you're not gonna stream. No, I'm not saying to use a Mac for this. I'm saying to use it as a test to see what the color reproduction looks like on a Mac. Even if the Mac can only record at like 4 frames a second, it doesn't matter. If the color comes out properly on the Mac, then we've eliminated Elgato being the problem, and now it's an OS thing. And as I was saying about OS, like Windows, what the hell is Microsoft doing? I heard that, what was it, the K2 is their internal thing where they're like, yeah, we're going to work on fixing the operating system. I'm like, it shouldn't have broken in the first place to the degrees that it did. But everything had to be Copilot. Let's see. I have a feeling Microsoft would be damn near out of business in about 10 years, and because of the corporate transfer and learning new software. You know what? The problem with that is they have so much enterprise that just pay for it because Teams is a thing. Office is a thing. I've thought that too, because I would sit there for years. I've sat there going like, how the hell is this company profitable? But they seem to be. Simulator says it's a 2015 MacBook Pro. You know what? But again, you're saying I don't think the USB ports are good enough to support the 4KX. Just, as long as it works for like 5 seconds, you're looking for the color side of it. I would try that. I would at least try it. It has to be the Elgato, otherwise your videos that he sent wouldn't be the same. That's not necessarily true. Well, okay, no, sorry, I have that wrong. I think it's the opposite. I think it is true because Simulator, aren't you using a what is it called? EDID. You have a separate EDID. This is where you use something like Claude maybe or Gemini. You take the EDID file, throw it in there, and be like, hey, can you make this for like my 1440p settings? Because I don't think going from 4K to 1440p is going to interrupt the color space, but unfortunately the EDID has to be very specific. No, I couldn't get it to work on my system. Yeah. You might want to try it on a different computer is what I'm getting at. I don't know, because the problem with... So, Duke, to your point about this, the problem is Elgato, they want to control the pipeline through their software. So who the hell knows if it's injecting anything to the capture card? Let me see something. One moment. I'm going to close these for a moment. Let me open Firefox. 4K 60X Elgato. No, or 4KX rather. Okay, so I'm assuming this is the card, right, simulator? Is this the one? Okay, so HDMI 2.1, 4K at 144, ultra low latency, VBR pass-through for ultra smooth frame rates. Play without limits. I'm curious about something. Connect any setup, stream your way. Supercharge your archive. Flashback recording, Streamlink, what quality can you capture? Okay. Man, F this page. Okay, here's what I wanted. Hi there. Looking to pick up a capture card? Okay. Okay, so I'll say this now that Elgato capture the same results as OBS. Is the card new? Maybe a defect. It's not new, unfortunately. But you know what the thing is? I don't think it's I probably bought it late 24. I don't think it's defective. If it was defective, you wouldn't get such a minor change. If it was defective, it would be like a massive issue. Like it would be like it disconnects constantly or whatever. Like something like a minor color space tweak doesn't sound like something defective. But I want to look at this here. Okay, so I'll tell you now that it's not HDR that's causing the problem. Because HDR, you would see a massive difference. Like it would look like a total hellscape. Although this has me questioning something. I wonder what's the console, or is it's a gaming PC? Is the gaming PC sending HDR, and is the Elgato trying to tone map it so it's close? If that makes sense. So imagine if it's the gaming PC and you're running HDMI out, but that HDMI coming out of the PC is actually sending it in HDR, and now the Elgato is tone mapping that, and that's why it's inaccurate. Sorry, Duke, I forgot to put the screen up. It's this card. Sorry for the seizure-inducing scrolling. Yeah, it's this one. You can't take a better product photo than that, Elgato. You literally put it in the darkest possible... Oh my god. Because art. Idiots. Okay. See, this one makes more sense, but just show me both sides of the device. Okay, well, I guess that's the closest we're getting is this shot. Yeah. Is this PCI one? No, it's the it's a plugin. Send you a screenshot on Discord of the Elgato software. It says, okay, let me pull up Discord. Ah, yes, the screenshot. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm going to go overhead for a second. Okay. Right there. Can you change your color depth? Can you make the color depth more Oh, the chat's getting cut off. Let's move that. There we go. can you make the color depth higher, like 10-bit, 12-bit? Although 12-bit would be like super overkill. But yeah, can you change that? That's a question. Is this the first time trying this setup on a video like this? I don't think it would be the console, because if it was, the console would be the same. The Elgato apps aren't supported on my Mac. Yeah, it's too old of an operating system. That makes sense. Yeah. But, so, okay, wait. Just to clarify something here. So, I see that you're outputting... You're going from your video card to Elgato 1440 HDR, right? Use NVIDIA color settings. What happens if you switch it to default color settings? The PS5 produced a similar color shift from what I saw a while back. Okay, but on the PS5, was the PS5 trying to do HDR? And you could see that in the PS5 settings. It was on my default before. It had no change. Okay, wait, clarify that. You mean... Oh, you still got the same problem. It's the bit depth I'm thinking about, because 8-bit versus 10-bit is pretty big. Unfortunately, YouTube is 8-bit just generally, even if this was a 4K stream. So like the gradient in the background, it just looks how it looks. Like it looks different when you look at it in like 10 or 12-bit. The NVIDIA color settings were default before I changed them, and it had no impact. Here's what I would try. Try a console, plug it in, see if it tries to force HDR. If it does, try to force it to SDR, standard dynamic range. That bit output color depth, though, if you can change that, if you're doing the PC thing, change that, because 8-bit, you don't want that. Output dynamic range in your screenshot, I'm going to assume that if you change that, it's going to force HDR mode. Maybe it's worth experimenting. Like, set it to HDR and let it tone map and see what it does. Although I think it's going to be worse, if I'm being honest. And your output color format is 4444. Okay, here's a weird one. Maybe try reducing it. The 4444, try bringing that down, I think, to like 422. Hey, I almost doxed my front of my house. My little adapter just arrived. I should have really put this phone in Do Not Disturb. But clearly, I don't have friends, so nobody's texting me. What was the other screenshot? Oh, this was the... Okay, so... 4K, or sorry, 1440p at 144 QHD. Your input source is SDR. Okay, so if I'm being honest, it could be that EDID thing. You might have to take the EDID that you got for 4K, throw it in like Claude or Gemini, and see if it'll spit out one that will work with your 1440p. So is this a bad time to text inappropriate photos? Well, it's in Do Not Disturb, so send all your feet pics. God. To pivot, speaking of feet pics, I set up a Patreon. Wow, that was the worst segue ever. I'm going to open Safari here. Just go to Patreon. This is not signed in, but I think I can pull up. Yeah, I can pull up. Hey, David, 1987. What's going on? I shared the GitHub page just in case. Unfortunately, it's for the wrong capture card. Lockpick, TechMixer OnlyFans. No. I made a Patreon, so I can post things that can't go on YouTube in there. Lockpick knows what will probably go in there. I'm afraid to play this, so I actually have a live stream. Well, This wasn't live. I did a quote live stream earlier. All I did was I recorded the video and then I played it through OBS to get it onto the Patreon. What I don't like about this platform, and I'm learning about this, but like you see, like we've got recent posts. Oh, I'm not signed into anything. Oh wait, can I mute the tab? Okay, well we're gonna play it.
I guess I'm doing.
I'm just gonna mute it. Okay, there we go. So again, this account's not signed in, but this video is playing, right? Obviously without sound, right? Can you tell I just recorded it? But I'm going to be putting stuff on this Patreon that you won't have to sign in to watch. Like you don't have to pay to watch it. It's just for stuff that I can't put on YouTube, essentially. That's why that exists. They are seeing an identical issue. So you know what this means? This means that Elgato probably knows about it. They want to put their shimmer on it. Like, something I've noticed with Elgato lately, and tell me if I'm crazy, but like when you saw the Wavelink 3 software, it's like they want to like put their own, what's the term? Sauce, I guess, on a lot of what they're doing with their content creation stuff. And some of us just want it to be pure, like the way it came out. Like, I'm going to mess up the audio for a second. Right now I created a LUT for the channel, for the live stream. Sorry, it's a LUT for the channel, but I have it running through a Shogun Ultra monitor. And I've showed this on stream before, so the audio is going to get weird. It's going to do something really dumb for a second, and I'll switch it back in a sec. But basically, okay, so this is log format. There's no LUT applied, and you know, I've got that lack of pigmentation thing going right now. But this is a flat image. It's a high dynamic range of sorts. But if I switch it to the LUT, okay, and now we're back to how it's supposed to look. Ideally, you want things to be as clean and as factory default as possible. In my non-tech visual brain, basically, I think you just said Elgato was like Samsung. Sorry, there's a glare on my teleprompter. I got to deal with that. Oh, it's the stupid screws on my camera. I can cover that. So yeah, it's kind of like when these, okay, it's like when you buy, here's the best analogy. It's like when you buy a TV and there's that like motion smoothing and like the soap opera effect where everything looks like it was shot at 240 frames a second, and like you're trying to watch like a motion picture that was shot at 24 and it just doesn't look right. That's like the brand inserting what they want people to perceive. Yeah, and David 1987 immediately turned that off. That is like the first. I remember years ago when I got my Bravia, my Sony Bravia, which is upstairs. I refused, like I powered through the menus. I refused to connect anything to it. Like I don't even use the like I have the Android stuff signed in. But like I don't barely use it. Like I have an Apple TV on it. I have an Xbox Series X. And like before I even connected those things, the first thing I did is I went in, and on that TV it was annoying. There's like 7 settings you have to turn off to get it to be like true actual frame rate. Exactly, those things are awful. And I'm starting to wonder if Elgato's doing something similar. And this is speculative at best, because like this situation with your capture, your Elgato capture, it's not normal. Okay, now the part of me being a viewer will say to you, it's fine. As a viewer. No, like I notice it, but I notice it side by side. And that's the thing, is like, it's not terrible. Okay, it's not unwatchable. In fact, if you were to put those clips in as is, you still have high quality content, I believe. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me in the chat, but I personally think that your quality looks fine. And maybe just use it for now until you fix it, right? I think what would be a real kick in the face, though, is like if you were to produce content with it the way it is, and then the internet goes through the hassle to get things back to native, and then you start putting stuff in native later, though if your viewers start going, it looked better before, then you're just gonna want to like delete the channel. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta pick your battles, right? Oh, they probably are. Increased saturation is so common. Yeah, like that's the thing is like TV manufacturers finally, and it took forever for this, and I still my conspiracy hat somewhere around here, but I still think that the filmmaker mode you find on TVs is like, I don't know. I still think there's something going on, right? It's the intention of the original artist, and sure. I know the new Dolby Vision stuff has like better filmmaker mode features to make that way more seamless, but I digress. But yeah, to the original source of this tangent, systematic audit. Yeah, it's kind of like, or like the Samsung moon picture. Yeah, like, we're going to zoom 10,000 times to the moon, which was like, they're inserting their sauce, what they think is like what it's supposed to be. But it's like, no, I just want the hardware the way it was. Don't insert your AI crap. Don't insert what you think puts a shimmer on it, because like I'm a creator. If there's going to be shimmer put on it, let me put it on there. You know what I mean? Like, it's too warm, the filmmaker mode, I find. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I try to... Where is it? Is it still here? Yep, I'm never going to calibrate my studio monitors. But, like, I use a data color. Right? I will drop the gamma a touch if all else fails. It's not a huge deal. Yeah, I know, but you know what? The thing is, you spent the money on it. Regardless if you bought it used or not. I don't think your card's defective. I think that there is a third party, like, when I say third party, I mean like Elgato or like Windows or something is causing this. Yeah, because you like, and I know that like it's very realistic looking gameplay, and you want it to look, as close to realistic or as the original developers of the game wanted it to look, right? I brought up the data color because like I can't stand like the closest thing to like color accuracy I tend to see is like when you buy a new Mac. Even the MacBook Neo's color accuracy, I never got to measure it, but it looked really good for what tier of display that is. Is there any information on Reddit regarding the setup that he has? They probably record it through the PC. I mean, yeah, but you spent the money on the card, and the thing is that like you want to like reduce any system load you're putting on the computer by just recording on the Elgato. You know what I mean? Like, the information on Reddit regarding the setup that he has. It's a good question. Let us see here. I'm going to go to Firefox, which just disappeared. That's fun. Let's see here. So, what is it? A 4KX Elgato Reddit. Color issue. Oh, the AI overview. 4KX color is off. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. That's interesting. Take the chat off the screen for a second. I'll go through the comments in a moment, but like right here. iPad gameplay on my PC. I have this problem with the 4KX as well. Pretty sure it's just lack of HDR being processed. Try it. Same deal. Image doesn't even show up. Half the time utility shows a black screen, says no signal. I don't know. This is interesting. Let me go through the comments here. I meant to test it out and put it through my gaming PC just for the color test. Do you recommend any other capture cards than Elgato? Yeah, I'm not gonna Harris Heller this because I've heard him talk about like Avermedia and stuff like that. But like, I also think that, how do I say this nicely about Harris? There's a fly in here. That sucks. Stupid decent weather. Thing's gonna fly. It's trying to chase the light. Get out of my basement. Anyway, yeah, I find he glazes a lot. That's the best way I can put it, which sucks. Uh that's a huge difference. Yeah, so here's the thing with this with looking at this. Like if well, I was already switched to it. Yeah. Let me go back here. This looks like it's just HDR that's like not tone mapped. Right? So it's just sending a flat signal, and then this is like the HDR. I don't know. This thread's a little bit weird. Let me get out of this one. Ah, here we go. Pass through image changes. Displays and all of the cables are brand new. Nobody answered this. Lime Guy, the Slime Guy. That's a cool name. Naya Print, hey, how you doing? Hi, how are you? I hooked up my Stream Deck Plus XL to the XLR Mark II, and it was good. It was 100% good. Awesome, good to hear. Sorry, we're looking at this image color temperature thing on the 4K Pro. Origin PC is equipped with a 9070. What could be triggering the color temperature changes here? Tech support appears to be completely flummoxed with the stream capture and pass-through corruption issues. We've been back and forth. This is starting to really sound like Elgato's doing something and they don't want to admit it. That's pretty trash if that's the case. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Yeah, that's not great. Hazan, hey, I sent you an IGDM earlier. What up? Welcome to the stream. We're currently talking about this issue that our friend Simulator Adventures. Sorry, joined late. It's 6 a.m. here. No, you're all good. Don't worry. I'm gonna be on for a little bit. I'm not stressed. Oh, I need to make a public service announcement. In fact, I'm gonna put this in the chat, so I'm gonna try to leave this up. Next week's stream will be at 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday to account for Mother's Day. So I'm putting that in the chat, and then I'm going to throw that up on screen. Okay, so is he updating a graphics card that costs? Is he updating his graphics card that costs that too? No, it's happening. It's not just graphics card stuff. It's happening with console as well. I'm trying to get the Plus XL on Amazon, but they're always out of stock. Still, boo. Yeah, and hopefully you don't end up with a used Stream Deck. David 1987. I'm pretty sure you saw my videos on that if you're in this channel, because I did. The last two long forms that went up on this channel were about my sheer anger issues with Elgato. So fingers crossed, and I did. Yeah. Yeah. Audio sounds amazing. Right. So yeah, this was the upgrade. Sorry, let me put that back up here. All right. So yeah, I'm using the MKH50, and I'm gonna go through. I went through this at the beginning of the stream, but I'll do it again. The reason that Marques Brownlee makes me so angry. This is the Sennheiser MKH416 P48, which my dumbass didn't realize that 48 meant 48 volt power, 48 volt phantom power. Anyway, oh, tried recording on my gaming PC, same issue. Interesting. So now that's without, hold on a second, is that without the Elgato at all? Or wait, that's, what is getting the stream in that case? I've never had issues with Elgato specifically, but have received open boxes from Amazon before. I love their return policy, but hate that they send used products. Sent the test. I'm going to have to look at them after. I literally put the Elgato into my gaming PC. Okay. But then did the display capture native in OBS? Sorry, I'm trying to balance a bunch of things here because, like, yeah, Hassan's in, and I wanted to re-explain the Sennheiser situation. All right, let me put the Mother's Day thing back up. I'm just going to read the chat off the chat screen because I want to leave the Mother's Day message up. Okay. But display capture, it's the device. Yeah, it's definitely the device. So between two different computers, and that's why I was saying to try a different computer. I'm using the expensive talking stick again. Yeah, between the computer change and the posts on Reddit, just the two that we saw, that is definitely signaling it's the device. But anyway, let me get back to this. So I'm going to re-explain this. So this is the Sennheiser MKH416, and this is what Marques Brownlee and myself, up until this week, were using to do content creation. But I actually purchased the Sennheiser MKH50, as Hassan guessed in a YouTube comment. And by the way, if you're into tech and you want to see high quality content, go check out Hassan's channel. I see some high effort. I see a lot of investment, and I see the passion for the gear. And I think this guy can go somewhere. I don't know. Hassan, I really liked what I saw on your channel. I checked your latest video recently. Your just passing 1,000 subscribers video. Just keep at it. Talk about what you're passionate about. You'll be fine. But anyway, speaking of tech content creators, Marques Brownlee swore by this mic. And a lot of us, myself included, I feel like we got duped. Maybe that's kind of harsh, but the problem is this mic is a good microphone. It's an expensive microphone. It's not good for indoor content creation. There's a little star on that. If you are in a space like I am, that's an untreated room. And now if you were to like put on like good headphones and go listen to some of Marquez's videos, you'll hear it for yourself too. And then you go listen to somebody like Gerald Undone, who recently retired from the camera space, or you listen to like Curtis Judd, audiophile legend. Their stuff sounds amazing, but they treated their space, but they're using MKH50 microphones. They're fantastic. Are you sure it's not the cable? Anaya asks. I'm not going to pop it up on the screen because I have the Mother's Day thing there. No, he already switched cables. And if it was the cable, it would just die outright. Like, you wouldn't see a very subtle color shift. It would just like, it would be a major color shift, like something where it's like, oh, you know, it went from being a red car to like a like a completely like green car or something. Like, it would be a nightmare factory. So no, the difference is too subtle for it to be the cable. But I think we figured out it's, and he switched cables anyway. But no, I think we figured out it's the device itself. Anyway, back to this. So the problem with the MKH416, on the sides, you have these vents. Systematic Audit says, Hassan, I tried to find you, but it's like 90,000 people that come up. Just click on his name. You should be able to like click on his name and go to the channel. And speaking of Hassan, he said, Tom Buck also uses the MKH50. It's the only mic I'm comfortable booming out of frame. Yeah, that's what we're using right now. And I actually changed the algorithm. Although I changed the noise reduction algorithm in OBS. But something I realized that Simulator Adventures pointed out is that even though I'm just feeding mono to the setup here, OBS was still trying to do it in stereo. So every time a sentence would end, like, I guess the noise cancellation would kind of like pan my voice. I got to listen to the recording after because I do record. Maybe, okay, so David says, David and Systematic Audit say, when you click on a person's name, it says reporter block. Yeah, just type it exactly the way it's written. So Hassan, capital H on Hassan, capital N on Niz. Yeah, just type it that way. Yeah, like, because Lockpick, was it Lockpick? Let me see here. Yeah, Lockpick found it. Yeah. Yeah, like, if you watch his video on the 1000, look at his video quality. And you notice that he talks about, like, the crazy studio setup. Like, I love what I saw. That was great. There's a passion there, and I think that should be embraced. It's not AI slop. It's thoughtful content. Clearly, a little bit of over introspective view because you're not posting as much as you could because you feel like it's awkward. That fades with practice. Like, I'm talking on a stream right now, Hassan. I think you'll be fine. I think you're gonna do big things. I think that you're just starting out. I know you've posted quite a few videos, but just keep going. It'll get easier. You'll be money. Speaking of money, this microphone, it has these isolation tubes on the side. Now, traditionally, this microphone's used in movie productions, but it's just, what's it called? Oh, we're gonna talk about the recorder for the MKH50. You're gonna laugh. There's a video about it that I did, but it's not really easy to search. I'll explain that in a second. So here's the problem with the 416. It's an outdoor mic. A lot of movie productions use this with like a Rycote or even the wind muff, and they'll go outside. And even when I've used this in outdoor, it's been fantastic. Here's the problem with a tech YouTuber using this microphone. So if we look around this room, you'll notice there's no sound treatment behind me, and off camera, there's no sound treatment beside me. And I'm not using a carpet. In fact, where I'm set up right now, in the previous homeowner's infinite wisdom, they tiled the floor, so it's Reflection City in here. It's not bad. The other half of the room is carpeted, but it's not a good place to set it up. And I'm not going to sound treat the space because I do want to move it. I want to move it to an entirely different part of the house. That's not anytime soon, though. But the problem is, on the mic, and I'm going to get to the comments after because I want to try to get through this. On the microphone, you got these interference tubes. Now, the interference tubes are great when you're working outside because if a car drives by, you'll get like a whoosh instead of hearing the car. And it will cancel out, or it'll use like its phasing to cancel out that background noise because you've got these two interference tubes here and here. And then you have the actual top of the mic, which is shaped it as a U. It's hard to see this, but take my word for it. The problem is, a tech YouTuber, on top of everything I just named, I also have this table. And this table is a hard surface. So what happens is you set this up, you spend the $1,400 Canadian, F my life, and you set it up out of frame, and you aim it towards your mouth, and it sounds great until the isolation tubes are also going to cancel out what else is going on around you. Now, traditionally, people, the big battle was like, well, I've got a computer in the room, or I've got like a heater or an air conditioner going. So those noises, I want that to get canceled out. So you hear about something like this and you're like, well, it's expensive, but it makes sense. It's gonna do magical things. But you know what it doesn't account for? The fact that as I'm talking right now, my voice is bouncing all over the place. And then the interference tube hears that. So it's like, okay, I'm going to cancel that out too. But then you get this weird phasing issue. And my dumbass was like, oh, I'll just fix it with voice isolation plugins. But the problem is the voice isolation plugin is not going to account for the way that this is going to try to phase out your voice. And it's almost going to make it worse. So I bought the MKH50, and Hassan in the YouTube comment was like, just be careful about plosives. Well, it's out of frame. So now I'm debating selling this. But I don't want to just like, I don't want to grift somebody. I don't want to go on like a Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji in Canada and be like, hey, basically brand new 416 for like, $1,000 Canadian or whatever I decide to sell it for. Plus, I'm going to add the shock mount with it, the cheap Amazon shock mount I got for it. I'm going to be like, look, if you're doing outdoor, this is a no-brainer. And I'll even say, even if it doesn't help me sell it quick, I'll be like, look, if you're doing indoor, don't buy this mic, right? If you're going to buy a mic for indoor and you have this kind of budget, just buy the MKH50, which is boomed above on a shock mount. And now I'm going to go to the comments. I just wanted to get all that out. Let's see. Okay, I'll put the Mother's Day thing back up after because it's easier to read everything off the teleprompter. So it's the device. Yeah, we talked about that. Are you sure it's not the cable? We talked about that. Tom Buck also uses the MKH50. It's the only mic he's comfortable booming out of frame. Exactly. Yeah. I should switch to my camera. That would help. Hassan. Okay, so we went through this. The search stuff. What recorder mixer are you using with the MKH50? This is actually perfect. Where is it? I had it here. Okay, get ready to laugh at me. I wish I had your confidence. Here's the thing. I don't have confidence. I have reps. That's it. You do it over and over again, and you'll get good at it. Hassan, you're already good. You just haven't realized it yet. Keep going. You'll be fine. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. And if that's your starting point, for those who found his channel, let him know in the comments. If that's your starting point, where like that's where you're building your channel from, keep going. Seriously, like come on. Like your stuff looks dope. You know? So I want to go back to your comment. What recorder mixer? When I did the DJI video, this is so stupid. I went on Facebook Marketplace and I bought a Phantom Power Box. Oh, it's got 2 inputs, 2 outputs to supply 48 volt power. So right now, this is going through that Phantom Power Box. And then I bought 2 of these cables. What you are currently hearing is the MKH50 through an XLR cable into the Phantom Power Box. The Phantom Power Box comes out with another XLR to one of these. I have the XLR adapter for the camera, but the way my teleprompter set up, this was just easier. So that goes into the camera. On my left is an Atmos Shogun Ultra, which I have 2 of them. So I'll show you the Atmos Shogun Ultra. And on the rear of the Ultra, and by the way, I know that there's comments coming in. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to mention the stupid amount of money I've been spending on this stuff. But yeah, so if we go to the back of this, trying to get it in frame. Yeah, you got HDMI in and out. So I've got HDMI in coming out of my camera, which is shooting in ProRes RAW. On the monitor itself, I'm applying a LUT to get the look that we're seeing, not the flat image. And the HDMI out is going into the Elgato. The HDMI out, sorry, is going into the Elgato Capture, which is getting the sound and the audio because Lumix has a terrible problem with audio sync. But when I record a video, same setup. So MKH50, XLR cable, Phantom Power Box, which is by my feet. I will pull the XLR cable that's being adapted into the camera, and I'll take this cable. Because remember, we're getting our 48 volt power, Phantom power. And I will pull out the DJI mic, wireless mic 2. Because this thing records 32-bit float. And I will just adapt it like so. And I will hit record. And I'll sync it after in post. And hilariously, I know I could buy a Zoom, but I also use those DJI mics when I go out and about. So why not? Maybe I'll buy a Zoom or I'll spend a ton of money on something, but that's my poor man Zoom recorder. So basically the worst recording room, LOL. Yep. Oh my God, dollars. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I've spent like the Shogun. I'm not even going to disclose what the Atmos Shogun goes for. I'm going to let you search that one. The Shogun Ultra by Atmos. So Google that for the pricing. Oof. Oh, so that is not being shady. Just say it works better in your room is soundproof if used indoors. You're really overthinking this. No, I disagree. I disagree with that. You know why? Because if you do the content creation thing and you're really trying to set all this up, the reason I'm saying it is because Marques Brownlee made it sound like it's good. It's like the ultimate microphone. Didn't talk about how he's had to sound treat stuff. Doesn't talk about the interference pattern. And I think because he has such a bias, because he's got 20 million plus subscribers, people are not going to take it seriously unless I outline that in the Facebook post, which I'll even shoot a video and put it there. I can't fan his channel for nothing in the world. I'm serious, half of the world has a name or variation of it. Hassan, your setup looks awesome. I swear YouTube is to let you click a channel name in the chat and take you to the channel. I thought it did too. Yeah. Hassan says thanks. I love you. I like that you guys are showing love. That's awesome. Simulator. Copy their name, including the @ I use a Zoom H6 with it. Need to upgrade the recorder sometime. I could have never guessed the transmitter is recording it. The studio is so large. He doesn't have reverb issues. No, I do have reverb issues. Okay. Watch this. I'm going to turn off the noise isolation. This is going to be painful. I'm going to warn you guys now. Where am I here? ACAM audio. Filters. Good luck, everyone. This is what it sounds like with just the compressor. How does that sound? Does it sound substantially worse? It probably does. Yeah. So this is without any noise isolation. This is just like the mic straight with a compressor on it. There is some reverb issues and room noise in this room. So maybe MKBHD was thinking the people that spend this much on a mic would have their setup properly sound treated. I would also agree with that. It sounds pretty good. Hardly hear reverb even with headphones. Really? Hang on. I'm going to mute my mic for a sec. I want to check what this sounds like now because I could hear it immediately. Hang on. Okay, I'm turning it back on. Okay, so let me turn the isolation back on. Just to make sure I'm not going crazy here. Filters, not filters. I want the audio. Filters, noise suppression. Okay, so let me check what that sounds like. I'm going to mute my mic again. Yeah, there's like a room hiss that like drives me nuts. Okay, so I want to address this comment from David. I get what you're saying, but the problem is that Marques even has courses. Matter of fact, I've even paid for some of these courses where he talks about this microphone and doesn't mention anything about sound treating, which is disingenuous at best because he damn well knows people are emulating what he does in the YouTube space. I get what you're saying about like if you have the money for a 416, then you would be sound treating your room. But I think sound treatment's something that you should do even if you use like the low cost fine mic that I reviewed like a couple or back in December of 2025. Simulator Adventures. It never occurred to me to do the @ I followed him and thanks. Yeah, the difference is with suppression, there's no hiss. Yeah. I'm tempted to buy the AverMedia cards. They are cheap compared to Elgato. You know what the sad thing is? I'm not going to endorse AverMedia. This isn't a slight either. I could buy and return if there's no benefit. Absolutely. Okay. Now, let me start this part of this by saying I have a bias. Okay, I want to be clear that what I'm about to say is completely based in having a bias. Okay. That being said, right now, if I go to one moment, let me just double check something here. Okay. Right now, if I switch to my iPad, okay, this is working and I'm using a Wavelink USB-C adapter with a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet Ethernet port on it and HDMI out. And the HDMI out is going to a Condor Blue capture card. Okay. The Live Gamer Ultra 2.1 looks like a solid choice. It probably is. And here's what I'm going to say about my bias. This is the Wavelink 5 gigabit USB-C adapter. Versus companies like QNAP or like Unify, CalDigit, OWC. Everything I've got from Wavelink has been phenomenal. And look, I'm going to be crass about this and say that people will turn around and say it's a cheap Chinese brand. And that's what people tend to say about brands like Wavelink. But here's where I bring up the AverMedia versus Wavelink as a parallel to like CalDigit versus Wavelink. Sorry, AverMedia versus Elgato versus instead of like Wavelink versus CalDigit. Elgato might be doing too much. They might be inserting their narrative in terms of like quality a little too much here. I have a feeling the AverMedia might be just stripped down and it might just work. AverMedia's website is very old-fashioned compared to Elgato. Well, you got to remember something, that Elgato is also owned. Wow. They're owned by Corsair. There is a very high budget to do a very high budget website. I don't know. I actually want to see. I'm curious. AverMedia, or who owns AverMedia? It's a Taiwanese company, according to the AI. But about AverMedia. Michael Kuo brought together a passionate group of dedicated individuals intending to make a difference in a Taiwanese branded video technology product. Yeah, so this company, they're not even close in terms of budget to something like Elgato, right? So, and based on the way Elgato's been acting lately, I don't give a damn if anybody watching this is like, you shouldn't be talking trash about Elgato. I'm gonna say this: you act like a shady company, you act like a shit company, you're gonna get shit results. That's basically what this is, right? And that's why I say what I say. I'll check out Wavelink. I have a couple of Satachi dongles, but need a couple powered Thunderbolt 4.5 docks. Now, that's another thing. How's the stream in terms of smoothness? What do you think? Like, has it dropped out any? How's like, let's see. Only stocked on Amazon US import fees. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. You know what, Simulator? Some store might have that. Or they might have some variation of it. Like a local store to you. I was asking on Hassan's comment. I'll check out Wavelink. I have a couple of Satachi dongles. So how has this stream been? Stream looks pretty solid. Haven't noticed the frame drop so far. Okay, so the stream is running on a Wavelink Thunderbolt 4 dock. The capture card for the iPad is on the Thunderbolt 4 dock. Okay. The Thunderbolt 4 dock is also I have a 10 gigabit adapter hooked into it through one of the Thunderbolt ports, and I've got a Thunderbolt like hub, like one of those pluggable hubs. I've got that plugged in to get more stuff, like for example, my overhead camera, right? Through the Thunderbolt 4 dock. What else is going in there? What other fun? There was another capture card which is not in use at the moment. I'm feeding HDMI out to my 27-inch monitor that's bolted to a C-stand. Stuff I'm going to put on my Patreon, which is free, by the way. I should put the link in the description of this stream. Yeah. But also, I have a 10 gigabit Thunderbolt 3 network adapter. Now, the Wavelink has a 2.5 port. The Thunderbolt 4 dock does, right? But check this out. You know what we're doing right now? Even while we're on the stream, we are going to run, if it will let me. What is with macOS lately? It's been doing this. Oh, it popped it up on the, there we go. It popped it up on my my teleprompter, which incidentally is also running through the Thunderbolt hub, right? Not directly to the dock because there's like a power limitation. It's weird. So if for someone like Hassan, I would recommend the Wavelength Thunderbolt 4 dock. And then buying the pluggable hub. But watch this. Here. I know this is going to be fine. 0 millisecond ping. And all this, and again, the stream's not dropping any frames that I can see. Everything looks good. Yeah, this is fine. This is a normal speed for my upload, which is insane. But yeah, all this is running, and we're still streaming. I'm not dropping any frames. I feel like, yeah. Yeah, by the way, David, if you're new to the channel, why I got my 3,000-ish subscribers is because I covered a fiber to the home provider here. I'm on a Unified Cloud Gateway fiber. There's a 49-minute motion picture on my channel about me bypassing my ISP's equipment. I mean, yeah, Cloud Gateway fiber, an access point. Yeah. So, do I recommend Wavelink? Yes. Am I biased? Absolutely. You have the UDM-SE. Nice. If your connection... See, so for Canada, at least for Bell Canada, we have PPPoE as our authentication, where like most ISPs are doing DHCP. PPPoE has a ton of overhead, so like all of the Unify Dream Machine, the Pro Max, all of them can't hardware offload that. The Cloud Gateway Fiber does. I believe the new UDM Beast. What a stupid name. I get it, but it's stupid. The Beast probably can. All the Unify Dream routers that came out last year seem like they do it. But I was saying about my bias about Wavelength. They've sponsored content on this channel, but I've used it for every live stream. Okay, you're with Videotron. Also, are you in Quebec with Fizz? I'm assuming Videotron. I'm thinking that's Quebec. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, you're in Quebec. That's what I thought. Yeah. But yeah, look, I put the sponsor stuff. I'm very careful about who I work with because I want to make sure that I would use it on the daily. And if I can't recommend it, I'm not going to recommend it. And in fact, I'll tell a sponsor like that's not happening. So I have a video coming, I'm hoping this week, which is covering an aspect of Apple Silicon, which is huge. And I secured a sponsor, but I'm the one who reached out to that sponsor because what I saw what they were doing was insane at the time that I reached out like a month ago. And it's gotten even better. It's like, oh, I can't wait for this video. But unfortunately, for this video to come out and for it to be fully effective, I had to make a Patreon. Right? Oh, before I forget, just so that it stays in the stream, let me... Oh, can I not put my Mother's Day post back? Hang on, let me copy, paste my Mother's Day. I should have put it in my clipboard so I can just paste it. Yeah, you love the sound of the MX Master 3S. I have beat the crap out of this poor mouse. Hang on, let me see. I just want to put that up because if you're going to join next week, it's not going to be on Sunday. That stream is going to happen on Saturday because Mother's Day is a thing that I would like to participate in with my mother. Right, and let me just pop this back on stream. Yeah. So what I was saying is for the next video I created a Patreon. Yeah. And basically you don't have to sign up for an account. Let me make that abundantly clear. You don't need to sign up for an account to watch the Patreon. Like you'll notice if you look in the corner here, it's set to log in, right? Like up here. But yeah, you can literally like the latest post. So basically I just posted a live stream, quote unquote, which was just a playback of a video I recorded earlier to kind of welcome everybody to the Patreon. These live stream links don't do anything. Yeah, there's nothing in there. I don't know why I can't delete them. Maybe it's just user error. If I click on this, right, some content, and the reason I made the Patreon, for those who don't know, the reason I made it is because there's content that either I think is going to hurt me algorithmically. Oh my God, I said it right on the first try. Let's go. And also, there's content that I'm pretty sure that YouTube's copyright demons are going to try to flag me for. And I don't want to hurt the channel because, like, I don't post as much as I want to. And I am probably going to do everything I can to make sure that I don't end up in Takedown City or completely destroy the channel, because I want to turn this into something. So, but the video that's coming out, I'm hoping by the end of this week. I'm really pushing for it. I'm going to work on it after I'm done streaming today. But if all goes well, the conclusion of that video will have to live on Patreon, because I can't put it up on the main channel. I'm looking forward to this one. You and I both, Lockpick. Lockpick has an idea, because Lockpick and I know each other IRL, semi IRL. Yeah, it's an industry that I was in. Shouldn't be a mystery. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun video. But Hassan, okay, so here are the takeaways, because I'm glad we've had a lot of interaction on this stream. It doesn't mean I could end soon. I don't know. We'll kind of see where things go here. I want to go through a few things here. So simulator, if you can find an Avermedia, see what you can do, because it sounds like Elgato's just doing Elgato things, which is annoying. Hassan, I would say keep going. Don't slow down. Oh, simulator, you didn't have to do that. Why did you do? No, we're community. You don't gotta do that. I appreciate it so much, but you really didn't have to donate. Man. I don't do the streams to catch the donations, although I probably should. Oh, you're only donating because you got a sponsored video this week. All right, I see what it is. Thank you so much for the super chat. That's awesome. Love that. Here, I'll just I'm gonna put this one back up for a little bit, if it will let me. I'm watching the delay, I realize this. Yeah, super chat. That's what what's his name? There's a YouTuber that every time he gets a super chat, he hits a button on his Stream Deck or his Rodecaster. It's like super chat. Found an Avermedia from Amazon EU. We'll try it. It arrives Friday. That's dope. You didn't have to donate. Man, I feel so bad. But thank you. Honestly, I just want to help. That's kind of what the stream's about. So, yeah. So maybe try the Avermedia. That's for you. For Hassan specifically, I'm going to. I've already subscribed to your channel on my Tech Mixer channel, which I actually. Maybe I shouldn't, but it's like my main watching account. I have a separate account, but hang on. You know what? And just to troll those in the chat, I'm gonna try Hassan Nez. I'm not even looking at how you spell it, but look at that. First shot. This account's not signed in. But like, come on, guys. Like, look
this is
at
the garden hose nozzle my team spent 3 years building, because
no. Oh no, I'm gonna brute force this. I ain't. All right. I'm gonna set you to 4K.
Almost 5 years ago, I uploaded my first ever YouTube video
because we had that sound issue before. Hassan, not you too. You guys are crazy. Hassan. Thanks for the shout out. Also glad I stumbled onto your channel recently. No. I'm glad that we're all connecting. This is awesome. I like this content creator space. I was flexing my internet earlier, and now everything's going to all hell. It's probably just YouTube. Yeah. But like, look at the quality on this. Like, Hassan, your setup is crazy. I know I'm messing your retention up. I am so sorry. Yeah, like, look at all this. Look, like, what you guys don't see, like I know content creators know this, and Simulator Adventures is saying it best. That setup is crazy. It really is. It really is. Hassan, just keep going. Like the setup, like my setup looks kind of clean adjacent. It is a hot mess over here. You know, there's like cables everywhere. And then you look at Hassan's, like there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I see Elgato prompter here. I see your main camera here, or your slider camera. Is that an Edelkrone or a Rhino? I don't know what that is. I see what I'm assuming is your overhead camera, which you probably dismounted. Oh no, you have an overhead here. I see XLRs that are nicely tied up. Shout out to cable management. I see is that a Rodecaster? I see what looks like an ATEM, or a Rode Switcher or something. And then like, here's the parts that people don't talk about. The annoyances of buying these IKEA shelves is super annoying. Like, oh, it's the iFootage. You know what? Okay, so here's the thing. I use the Edelkrone setup. I also have a DJI RS3. And I know that the RS3 is compatible with the iFootage with that setup where you can turn it into like super slider. I almost want to reach out to them. Yeah. I almost broke my wrist setting up those shelves last year. Yeah, like nobody talks about the annoyances of setting these things up. That's why if you look at my set, these are like cheap Amazon like vinyl edged with plastic clips, and I'm like, it looks good enough for now because I'm like, this was a temporary setup. And like the lighting off to the side is just some of those Govee lights. Like I've got them on both sides. And then my rim light is an overpriced Zhiyun 60. Don't ask. And then my key light is gonna get adjusted slightly because I realized I'm blocking a lot of my face. Like if I come down lower, it's like better. Because my stupid overhead camera's in the way. I gotta readjust all this to fix the lighting. But I want to finish up a bunch of content first before I do it because it's not detrimental. But nobody talks about look at all this. There's the overhead again, right? Different angle. You got your microphone, one of many mics, as you had mentioned. So the reason it sounds so good, Hassan, is because I am a voodoo wizard. No, the reason it sounds good is because the microphone is here's my finger. If I go up about this much out of frame, this is proximity. Let's see here. By the way, that's my second setup. If you scrub, yeah, I saw your main setup as well. Here, let me do that quick. Where was it? I know I watched the whole video earlier. Yeah, this is the second set. I don't want to turn sound on because we had some sound issues a little while ago. Anyway, look. Do Hassan a favor, watch the video because, he's a boss. What are those button things sitting on each cube shelf? Button things on each. Oh, this. Are you referring to the orange thing that's on your right, my left? Oh, Hassan's setup. Sorry. Okay, yeah, that's a good. You know what? Here, yeah. Let's investigate together. Let's see. What does Hassan have? Button things. Well, the button things sitting on each cube shelf. Let's see. Oh, is that a light? I feel like that's a light. With an orange triangle in each. Oh, those are Amaran lights. Yeah, so these are actually his, so that's the back of it. The front of it, look, it's projecting out to the side here. I know this because I have a bunch of them, which I haven't used in a while. That's such a smart way to do it, too. That is such a smart way to do it, too. Yeah. Random stuff, LOL, Aperture MC, yeah. And you know what? Sometimes I'll use the Aperture MCs when I'm doing product shots. I have a set of the aperture tube lights, which are like screwed onto some grip heads that are attached to some lights, some light stands, and I have them mounted horizontally. That's how I do the B-roll setup for the jib. I've accidentally destroyed. I know in one of my tube lights, I probably gotta like tap it with something because there's a grip head screw stuck in one of them. I mean, it's still fine, but it's just annoying. I also don't like the aperture of the old tube lights because they kind of bow. Like, they're not perfectly straight versus like the newer ones that have the battery built in. These ones have the removable battery. First world problems, I know. I could probably just take the battery off and just AC power them, but yeah, there's all that. But yeah, in terms of you guys and your donations, still thrown off by that. I super mega appreciated. Like, you don't have to go out and do all that, but you did. And I'm going to put the Mother's Day message back on the screen. Yeah. Wow. This is awesome. But yeah, Hassan, seriously, every time I posted it, something else comes up here. I have a couple of Amaran PT4Cs that you can't see in the video, but one of them delivered with bad battery. Was hard to send it back as being that long. The main postal service wouldn't accept it. Yeah, that's unreal. That's the one thing is like, I wish that they made those Amaran lights, the PT4C. I wish that they had removable batteries, because if it's a defective battery, Amaran can just ship you another battery and then you can dispose of the one that was defective, right? That'd be the responsible thing. A lot of these things don't have user replaceable batteries these days, and some companies are pretty good about it. They're like, oh, we'll just RMA it, send you a new thing. But unfortunately, just the way the world's going, like, everything's disposable. It sucks. But yeah, Hassan, honestly, like, your setup is insane. Like, you make me look like a complete amateur. Maybe it should be Hassan doing the live stream in my place, because your stuff looks dope. So, and your sound is really good. You asked how the audio is this good. It might just be like compressor settings. Oh, one thing I'm going to suggest, if you're doing noise isolation with a plugin, put it before the compressor, because it's an algorithm, and a compressor before your voice isolation is going to add color and different frequency response that the noise reduction algorithm can't really process. Or it can, but it's probably going to mess it up. So if you want it to sound cleaner, it's kind of like shooting in log. When you shoot in a flat log profile and you want to make color adjustments, you put your conversion LUT at the bottom and you do your corrections on top. Because if you do it the other way, you might as well just shot in a standard profile, because the Rec 709 LUT basically removes all of the extra dynamic range. So you want to put the color corrections before the LUT. It's the same thing with noise isolation, right? Because a noise isolation plugin doesn't account for compressors. So maybe it's that simple. If you're struggling with a big room and you're doing noise isolation, that's how I have it set up right now in OBS. See if I can pull this up here. I don't know why OBS trips out. Let me go here. All right, so if I go into my S5 II audio, go to filters, you'll see noise suppressions at the top. I have Clarity VX, but like macOS, I'm using the RN noise, just whatever it's doing. I changed it. Originally, I was using the Speaks low CPU. I paid for Waves Clarity VX, but it's not cooperating. It's not even showing up. I have to probably move the path. And also, that is basically on my main profile, so I probably have to do some authentication. I had trouble with RNN noise. It cuts out laughter and S sounds, at least with my mic. Interesting. So I would say with RN noise, like I showed just now, here, let me pull it back up super quick and I'll show you. Bring the window down here. Yeah, I put noise suppression at the top. But the other thing is the proximity of your mic probably matters a lot. Like you probably got to have your mic pretty close. And also your levels, you probably don't want to clip them. You don't want them being so close to hot. Yeah. But yeah, again, the noise isolation. So ideally you want a good mic level going in. If I turn off the compressor, I'm curious. Let's see how low my voice actually is. Let's see, S52 audio. Okay, so here are my compression settings. If you want to take a screenshot, I'll know how great this is. But I'm going to turn them off. So if I turn them off, you'll see like I'm very low now. But yeah, if I bring them back up, if I turn it back on, it should sound a lot better now. So I think, yeah, I am a proponent of believing that you should definitely put your noise isolation at the top. Anything that's like that needs the source material as it was intended. So like if you're shooting in log formats, put your color wheels at the top, right? Before it hits the LUT, right? Because you're getting the purest version of what the camera did, right? This is in the video side of this. On the audio side of it, if you're getting a clean mic input, like what was I sitting at? Like minus 25-ish. You know, if you're sending a good signal, then you put the voice isolation at the very top. And then once it has a clean signal from your mic, it's going to do its processing on your voice to get it without the background noise. And then you can add your compressors and all that. I think a lot of people, and I see this a lot, people have these problems because there's not a lot of training out there that really emphasizes how important that is. It's usually an afterthought. I feel like it needs to be emphasized more. It's kind of like the other week we were doing the one gentleman who wanted to go buy like a Canon R5 Mark II, I think it was, or something like that. And I'm like, but how's your lighting? And then when I did the video test with my iPhone with really good lighting, you know, the viewer was like, oh my God, that's incredible. And then sent me a super chat for some reason. But no, yeah, that's how I think it's more a matter of how I got this room to sound good. One thing I like to do is like if it's a hot day outside, I'll just, if I know I'm going to be recording or streaming, I'm just going to like crank the AC for as long as I can and then like turn it off throughout the recording process. So that way, like it's not turning on randomly while I'm recording. Try to mitigate as much like again, there's noise coming off this table, but if I turn off, let's do this now. Go to filters. I'm going to turn off noise suppression. So I've got like, there's reverb in this room. Like you can hear it, right? Now, if I turn it on, so it's on now, you'll still hear me make the noises, but you won't hear the reverberance. So, I usually use Final Cut Pro's voice isolation, and sometimes I also play with the built-in expander only if using the overhead mic, not with the Rodecaster stuff. Yeah, so like with FCP, with Final Cut's voice isolator, I use that. Lately, when I bought Clarity VX, it has problems with my Final Cut install. I might have to reinstall it. It was pretty good, but I don't know. I keep going back to the Final Cut voice isolation. But I bought the D-Breath plugin because my breaths, like, I think with the compressor, you just really hear them. So I put like voice isolation, I think is the first thing that Final Cut does. And then the next thing in that chain is the D-Breath to try to get rid of the breath. And then I'll compress because you don't want the D-Breath trying to do a compressed voice. Kind of the same theory I was just explaining. For a while, everyone thought NVIDIA broadcast was the future. You know what the thing is that NVIDIA is so hyper-focused on the AI space that it might be a situation where a company just uses their neural network to create like an NVIDIA broadcast killer. Because I don't think they're focused on the creator side of it anymore. I think they're just like AI data center, baby. But it uses up to a quarter of your GPU's resources, which is unacceptable. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm curious. I think as like networking gets faster, as these LLMs and all these algorithmic tools to use the neural engine to handle this stuff. As this stuff gets like more popular, or I guess more widespread, we're going to see some very interesting stuff. You got to remember something, that all of those plugins and all of that voice isolation stuff and all of that like creator centric, pardon me, this light always puts me to sleep. But yeah, all of this creator centric stuff was really like elevated forward because of the pandemic, you know? And the question is like, how many of these companies are going to stay on like really focusing on the creator economy? It's an interesting discussion. Duke brought up something way back. I'm not gonna be able to find the chat, but I am going to bring up what he said, and maybe this will be the last topic of today because yeah, it's 5 p.m. Hey, we've been going for 2 hours. Beautiful. John Turnus versus Tim Cook. A very interesting topic. I'm gonna be the echo chamber of like all the big YouTubers. He's a hardware guy. He was he's not Johnny Cerruti, is that his name? I'm messing that up probably. But those two in tandem were the Apple Silicon guys. I have this running joke in my head. If you go back and you watch the keynote for the Pro Display XDR from way back, it was John Turnus that went on stage. Time is weird. 5 p.m. Sunday your end is 7 a.m. Monday on my end. Yeah. What was I saying about Tim Cook's era really looked like Apple taking less and less risks, the Vision Pro being the outlier. Yeah. I think Tim Cook's biggest risk outside of the obvious Vision Pro, because you are right. Definitely the Vision Pro was a problem in terms of risk. I think the big one was Apple Silicon. I mean, like, look, in their end, it's like, yeah, we've got this down to a science. Yeah, I'm gonna read Hassan. I'm just gonna leave the Mother's Day thing up, but I'll read the comments. The way he announced the $1,000 stand and quickly changed the topic while the audience did a whoa sound was funny. Yeah, I think I put that in a video recently, but like in my head, the way that I view that. Do I have it? Oh my god, I do. We're gonna do this on stream. I pictured Tim Cook initiating him for this. So he must have been in the back like, oh, do I have the glasses? I might even have the glasses. See what I do for you guys on stream? I even know where the glasses are. I did find my Amaran, so there's that. Yay. I don't have the glasses, but I imagine I'm wearing the glasses. Like, Tim's in the back, like, watch him squirm. Like, you know, it's like he sat there going, okay, you're going to go out and you're going to announce this product. And this product is the monitor. But I need you to emphasize how expensive the stand is. Shares. That joke's going to die once Tim Cook is gone to the great board of directors in the sky. Haven't Apple always flip-flopped on their CPU providers every 10 years or so? No. Apple was with Intel from like, I want to get this right, I don't want to say it wrong. PowerPC to Intel transition. Apple. Mac to Intel. Mac to Intel. Background. 2003. It's not really a flip-flop. News reports. When did they announce it, though? Just moving where the market is going. Yeah, and you know what? That's the thing. Steve's whole problem was the issues with PowerPC, so they went to Intel, and I think even before Steve's passing, there was the conversation about how Intel just runs hot. And I think that was all. I think a part of that was the NVIDIA split. Like when NVIDIA had problems with their GPUs and Apple went to them like, hey, like what the hell? And they were like, deal with it. I don't know the exact story, but something like that. Like they still don't work together by any means, NVIDIA and Apple. But I feel like Tim's like, we need to make a change. I don't know why my voice cracked when I did that, but like I feel like Tim Cook was very adamant on like, you know, he was following Steve's vision. And I think John Turnus and Johnny Cerruti, again, I probably have that name wrong. They were just like, well, Steve wanted to do the Apple made in-house processor. And I don't know. I think Apple Silicon is their biggest success outside of iPhone. I feel like it's like iPhone was like the big one, and Apple, when everybody was complaining when they had the 2013 trash can MacBook Pro, everybody complained that the trash can was like a thermal like death trap, and like Apple doesn't care about their pro editors. Yeah, David, that's what I'm referring to. Tim Cook stepping down for John Turnus is gonna secede him. Is that the word? Secede? Yeah, John Turnus is taking over, and then Johnny Cerruti, who was head of silicon development, is becoming head of hardware, which is pretty interesting. Again, I might have all that wrong, but that's what I'm saying is like, you know, it could be very exciting. And I think a lot of the big tech reviewers and tech YouTubers are excited because we're getting a hardware person. It's kind of like the Pat Gelsinger Intel thing. It's like, you know, now the new CEO is reaping all the benefits of what Pat did. I don't know. I don't work at Intel. I don't know the inner structure of things, but that's what it looks like on the outside. So I think that John Turnus got initiated by Tim Cook at the Pro Display XDR event, where it was like, go sell the stand. You know, and maybe that's what it was, right? I'm glad I got a new microphone set up so we can hear the timbre of my voice. What about the Leafs hiring Matt Sunday? I think you mean Sundin and John Shaky this afternoon. Mark, I don't watch the Leafs. I'm going to cuss on the stream. Fuck that team. I have no interest in watching the Leafs. Who cares? Because people are going to spend the money and line their pockets, and they have no motivation to win. So, yeah. Mark, I don't know. Mark probably just woke up and thought that this was a sports live stream. So, yeah. I'm excited on the John Turnus era. Also love the Johnny Cerruti becoming chief hardware officer. Apple did well in the hardware, and the top two guys are both going to be from hardware. What about the Raptors tonight? I haven't watched the Raptors. I only saw the... Mark, stop talking sports. Like, go away. Mark's my main client, so like I can talk smack to him. He's bringing up sports stuff. But yeah, no, we're deep in the conversation. I'm ending the stream soon. You're late. You're like 2 hours late. I even brought you up earlier. I can't remember what I said, but I brought you up earlier. And watch, Mark's probably not even watching this live. He's like 2 hours behind. How interesting would it have been if Craig Federighi was CEO? Oh, I went to watch the Michael movie. Ah, okay. Yeah, so Mark went to watch Michael. Okay. David 1987 says, how interesting would it have been if Craig Federighi was CEO? There's a lot of chat about this. How do I put this? I think that I don't think he wanted to be CEO. I think that like he made jokes about like, you know, now in iOS 18 we have better autocorrect because sometimes you would just want to send a ducking text message. Like, sorry about the bad impression. I did a whole video making fun of both Tim and Craig a couple years ago. WWDC 2024. Look it up. But anyway, I think he's just like, he's happy in his software role, you know? Hassan says, Craig Federighi is funny and always love him on WWDC, but looking at the state of Apple software, I'm glad he's not at the helm. Is he not still at the helm? They just had a big, somebody who was on software just left. Craig Federighi. Position. Executive. Position. Why can't I type? Apple leadership. So he's the senior vice president of hardware or software engineering, reporting to Tim Cook. So he's going to report, unless he retires, he's probably going to report to John Turnus and be like, please don't try to sell us like stands and possibly wheels. From the helm, I meant like the CEO position. Yeah, I think he's happy where he is, you know? Check out the hair on this guy. Just magnificent. And like the look on his face is like, I don't want to take this effing picture. Craig. Yeah. You know what's funny is I believe I'm going to have to look this up. I might be wrong. John Turnus, I believe, was at the Final Cut the Final Cut Summit in Cupertino back when I went in November 2023. I think I talked to him at one point because I met the whole Pro Apps team and there was a bunch of Apple people there, and it was very like, everybody turn your phones off. You know, it was one of those things. But yeah, if I did talk to him, that's kind of cool that, you know. I'm a fan of your... Oh, hey, Prince of Dim Sum. I'm a fan of your Bell videos. Any tips for a newbie looking to set up a faster home network? PPPoE versus advanced DMZ external router via the GigaHub. If you're okay, I'm going to say something, and I don't want you to get offended, Prince of Dim Sum. If you're a fan of the videos, you'd already know that I bypassed, and I'm using PPPoE through the Unified Cloud Gateway Fiber. That's the external router of choice because it's probably the most cost effective. You can put your own access point on it. Mark Hartnum, who's in the chat, has one. It works great for him. Going through the GigaHub via PPPoE, it works fine. Yeah, that's my answer. Faster home network, you're not going to get better than the Cloud Gateway Fiber because you've got 10 gig ports. You can throw a switch on it, which is what I did. I've got multiple switches on mine, but yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I would definitely watch the... You may not have to watch the whole thing, but the 49-minute motion picture, the thumbnail on the channel says goodbye GigaHub. Yeah. The goodbye GigaHub thumbnail bypassing, that's the video you want to watch. That's probably the closest thing. Back to the Apple topic. Hassan says, also interested that he remains the SVP of software, but John Shruzi became the chief hardware officer. Yeah, but like, here's the thing is like, a big part of that. Let me answer Prince Dim Sum just in case you leave. I just want to make sure that you get this. Thank you. I've been having issues with PPPoE, and a friend said DMZ is better. Thank you, though. DMZ is not better because DMZ will keep disconnecting. Unfortunately, in Bell's infinite wisdom, those jackasses decided that we're going to use a protocol that was meant for dial-up to handle fiber internet. It's annoying, which is why like companies like Unify and other companies don't really accelerate PPPoE, or at least they didn't. But up in early last year, Unify started releasing their newer equipment that has hardware acceleration for PPPoE, which will fix all the issues. But then you look at Rogers, they use DHCP, which is neither advanced DMZ, or PPPoE. They're using DHCP, and it just works, and it's great, but Rogers is Rogers, so that's a whole thing. But yeah, I would definitely consider, if you're looking to buy a router, buy the Unified Cloud Gateway Fiber. I've been using it since I did the video back in June, and as we saw on stream, what's it called? The Cloud Gateway Fiber has been amazing. Like, I'm getting, earlier on stream, I was getting 8 gig. You know what, here, let's flex again. Why not? Why the hell not? And again, I'm streaming right now. I'm obviously hardwired. I'm getting 0 millisecond ping, and I'm running through the Cloud Gateway Fiber. And as a matter of fact, This is running through 2 separate switches. Yeah, I know. I had to flex. Let's see here. Regarding Hassan's comment about that Craig's staying SVP, you know, the thing is, he's marketable. You know, he's the only person that can go on screen and be like, our crack marketing team has gone through the forests of the Sequoia jungle, or whatever the frig he says. But like, you're not going to be able to replace Craig. Craig is like the comedy relief, but yet executive. It's weird. It's interesting. That might have been one of the main reasons. Yeah, appreciate it so much. Thank you. Your Bell videos are great. Keep it up. Thanks. I don't know how much Bell stuff I'm really going to cover anymore. Unless there's some major thing like Duke was talking earlier. Duke Seb was talking about CGNAT. So, you know, there's that. Mark wants to know, do you know a program that removes watermarks? Try one today called Filmora. I do not. And if I did, we would have had a conversation about it. Simulator. Holy moly. What could you possibly need 8 gig for? My work. That's all I'm going to say. 10x what we get. Yeah. Hassan says, whoa, yeah. Oh, yeah, you guys didn't realize. Do servers actually let you download that fast? Yeah. Yeah. Massive file transfers. He does a lot of video editing. 8 gig is incredible. Whoa. Wish those speeds work through VPN WireGuard. Yeah, we all do. Okay, let me give you the transparent why I'm still on 8 gig. I could have gone back to 3. Most of the internet does not benefit from like 3 gig even. I got a discount through Bell. Not because of the videos. And let me make that clear. That discount happened well before I was even making the Bell videos. Or sorry, no, I think I put up the 1.5. But the discount was not really like I called them. I was trying to bundle stuff and I was going back and forth. But if I downgrade my plan to 3 gig, I'm going to pay like $40 more a month. I have some perpetual discount thing on my line. So I think I lucked out. Now they're watching the stream and I'm going to get my bill like next week. And I'm going to be like, why is my bill so flipping high? But yeah, I'm just staying on 8 gig. And they don't even offer it in my area anymore, which is really weird. Like if I punch in my address or my neighbor's address, you can't even get 8 gig. So I don't know. Bell's stupid. So stupid. Yeah, I have very mixed feelings about Bell. On one side, their home internet, minus the lack of IPv4 and PPPoE being their default or their connection choice, it's really good. Downside is, holy crap, their cellular service is bad. I just switched to Rogers for my cell phone. And fun fact, if you are in Canada and you have the ability to switch from Bell to Rogers, get a CAA plan and pay the $121 plus tax. Because in my case, I have 2 lines. I pay for my mother's line. And I have my line. And I am saving. What am I saving? How much in total? $84 a month. I'm saving. And the plan's better. And I only paid $121 for the year plus tax for CAA to save $84 a month. So in 2 months, that's more than what I paid for CAA in savings. So crazy. They don't even offer more than 1.5 gig in my province. Duke, the reason is because Bell uses GPON in your area. And the upper limit, I think, is either 2.5 or 1.5. It's just the switches they have to change out, and the cable should be fine. Oh, I just dropped Rogers for Kudo. Yeah, it depends on where you are, right? And that's saying lockpick. As a long haul truck driver, the price. Whoa, why is it jumping? The price may be better, but Rogers Bell has way better coverage in dodgy areas. In my experience, it's been the opposite. It's weird. I drove out to Belleville and was stuck in SOS, and I'm like, what is happening? You know, Rogers, I'm getting like 3 bars 5G and like I'm able to download at like 40 megabit where like I could barely open like a website when I was on Bell. Nope, just got upgraded to XGS a couple weeks ago. Oh yes, that's right. Yes, we were talking about this. Yeah. They just have to enable the profiles. Yeah. I've used Koodo before. It's stronger in Toronto and tends to have issues outside of Toronto. Anything north of Sudbury, Rogers is almost useless. See, and that's the thing. Like my experience is fairly limited. Because like going from where I am an hour north of the city, and then like what's crazy on Bell is I was trying to connect to work and I couldn't even connect to the website on Bell in Mississauga. I was like, are you kidding me? And it wasn't like one part of Mississauga. I rebooted the phone like 3-4 times. Nothing. You know, especially when you get to the Square One area, it was just nothing. Like it was awful. And I switched to Rogers back in February and I've gone to the same places and I'm getting like 400 megabit down on 5G in Mississauga. So crazy. Hassan says, just check. Bell has 8 gig Canadian for the month. I'm paying 155 for 1 gig down, 400 up. Okay, but here's the thing. So Hassan, in Canada, when you put in certain addresses, the availability changes. And these jerks will change the pricing all over the map. It's weird. I had a friend of mine tell me that Bell was trying to charge him $210 for 8 gig. And I'm like, how is that possible? Because on their site, it's like $160 or something like that. Crazy. Duke Seb says, I moved to Koodo after 20 years on Rogers because the cost kept offering me more data and not less price. Even their retention offer was more than what I was paying. So dumb. Yeah, like Bell called me for the retention offer, not even 8 hours after I ported my number out. They flipped. And I'm like, are you beating this price? Plus I get an extra 20 gigs on each line for my mother and myself. And it's shared. A lot of plans aren't even offering shared anymore. A lot of providers rather, which is crazy. But yeah, like their retention was like, oh, well, we can give you like $30 off. I'm like, can you beat 84? And even then, can you fix the reception in these spotty areas? Like I noticed it like the day I switched. It was incredible. David in 1987 says, with Fizz, I got 1 gigabit down and 50 up for $40. Yep, that sounds like a DOCSIS 3 or DOCSIS 3.1 cable connection. So yeah, I could see that. That's what I had on Rogers before. I had gig down, 30 up. I think I was paying like $50 at the time, I want to say. I wish I had faster up. Yeah, that was the big thing for me. It was upload. Mark Harnum, who may or may not still be in the chat, he will tell you that everything changed when we got fiber, both of us, because we both upload to the same work servers. Cable upload is terrible. You know what, Duke? You're right, but they rolled out DOCSIS 3.1, and here's something interesting. My mother, her plan on Rogers, because they don't have Bell Fiber to the home there, her Rogers plan is like a 150 megabit plan. They bumped her up to 300. It just always is 300. Her upload is like 180 and it's on cable. And I was very surprised by that. However, you know, the problem is it's still coax. It's still that technology. So the big issue becomes like if for some reason my mom started streaming, but like, no, I mean like if they're doing anything super high latency, it's kind of a problem there still. Does cable still have the problem with too many people killing the speed during prime times? That's an infrastructure thing. So that was the big selling point with ADSL back in the day to compete with cable. That the way Bell was wired, it's a misnomer because it's not really about the technology as much as the way as the cables were laid out. Because at the end of the day, DSL and cable were both copper lines. That's not the issue. The coaxial cable that Rogers uses seems to have been a little bit faster and had a longer staying power through the years than DSL did versus fiber. But that being said, the way that they set up their core networks on Bell, on DSL typically, and fiber to the home, I can't speak to Rogers now because they might have, it's been how many years, right? They could have, reworked things and rejigged things. And I mean, it could be better. I don't know. But yeah, fiber's great. I love it. I don't know. I abuse my connection like a ton. yeah. Let's see. See another comment here. Prince of Dim Sum. I'm using Bell 5. Bought a TP-Link AXE5400 router via PPPoE. Sadly, and I already know where this comment is going, there was a lot of latency when two PCs are running. Okay, I wish I had the Bell bridge mode. There is no, or sorry, I wish Bell had the bridge mode. I was about to yell. Yeah, there is no bridge mode on Bell. And it's because they're using PPPoE, if I am understanding it correctly. That's why Rogers has a bridge mode, because they use DHCP. They don't have to decrypt packets on the way in. It's so funny how tech has changed. I remember getting DSL and thinking it was like the cat's meow. Yeah, I remember totally legal MP3s back in 1997 when we wasn't even Rogers at Home. I think it was Rogers Wave is what it was called back then. And you're like, oh my God, I could play an MP3 as it's being downloaded? Like crazy, right? You know, and then when the speeds got faster, it's like, hold on, I could potentially burn a CD at the rate that it's downloading. That's crazy. It's come a long way. Now it's like, oh, I could download a 50 gig Blu-ray in how long? Like, it's insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, so I feel bad for you, Prince, because that's the big problem with like a lot of the consumer routers is nobody, and the thing is, it's not really a problem with the router. I shouldn't say that. It's a problem with Bell. Most people who know what they're like doing network wise, or at least like hardware wise, get Lockpick. Now you can pirate a trilogy of movies during one commercial break. Yeah, pretty much. So the TP-Link thing, I'm gonna go soon actually, because I just realized it's been 2.5 hours and I gotta eat something and I gotta get this video done. So we're gonna end on this whole narrative here. What was I saying? Yeah, the TP-Link thing. If you're like knowledgeable in tech, you would say, okay, well, you got internet coming in and you've got Ethernet coming out, so we'll just plug it into another router and put it in a bridge mode and get the public IP to the router, and then you're all good, right? Like that's ideally what you would want to do. The problem that comes up is they're using PPPoE, and the reason you're seeing that latency is because I guarantee you're not accelerating PPPoE, and I bet you the processor in your router is heating up and it's throttling, and that's where your latency is coming from. If Bell would have just done DHCP like, you know, a proper ISP with a high-speed connection had done, we wouldn't have these problems. Both your computers would run fine. Your router would run fine. It wouldn't be running as hot as it's probably running. I bet you if you run 2 speed tests and you hammer that thing and then go feel the temperature of your router, your TP-Link, you're going to feel it's getting pretty warm because it can't decrypt, or it can't, not decrypt. That's not the word. Is it decrypt? The PPPoE frames is a lot of CPU overhead. That's why the Cloud Gateway Fiber is so dope, because it will literally do it on a hardware level outside of the CPU, and the CPU doesn't even get hot when you're like pounding the connection. That didn't come out right. I stand by it. Pounding the connection. Anyway, that's the segue to get the hell off stream, because now I'm just talking gibberish. But I need to send some thank yous. So Simulator Adventures and Hassan, if you haven't checked out Hassan's channel, I am going to pop the channel into the comments below. 1 second. Let me just make sure I get the right channel. All right, so let me put this in. All right, so yeah, in the chat you will see Hassan's channel. I see comments coming in. Yeah, so there's Hassan's channel there. Let me pin that, actually. Will it let me pin it? All right, so we have pinned Hassan's channel to the top of the chat. So go ahead and check that out. Honestly, thank you so much for the super chats. Simulator Adventures. I really hope this AverMedia stuff works out, and feel free to hit me up on Discord. Should I open a Discord? What do you guys think? I've already, I guess I'm going full creator now, because I just opened a Patreon to post stuff to that I can't put on YouTube. And yeah, I guess maybe I should do a Discord. I don't know. Prince of Dim Sum says, thank you. Enjoy dinner. Have a great one. Yeah.
Sorry, no. It does get warm. Good point. PPPoE seems heavy. Thank you for the help. Okay, that's what I was reading. Pound the connection, David 1987 says. Yes, pound it. Hassan says, with 8 gigabit, why does it keep jumping? I wonder what router you can use that still has IPS IDS at full bandwidth. You can use the Cloud Gateway Fiber. In my 49-minute motion picture, I actually tested that. It worked. It was fine. And it didn't heat up because it's offloading PPPoE. And I got full IDS and IPS, and it was wonderful. David says yes. Simulator says open a Discord. Hassan says yes for Discord. Prince of Dim Sub says Discord. So what you're saying is I shouldn't open a Discord. Yeah, I'll put something together, and maybe I'll talk about it on stream. I want to thank all of you for coming out, and if Mark's still listening, sorry for busting balls. I don't want to get into sports tonight. I just want to focus on the YouTube stuff and whatever. For those who live in Ontario, they know that Toronto sports is a polarizing, dumb thing that I have elected to not participate in. So if I see anything to do with the Toronto Raptors tonight, it will probably be either after the game in the highlights or tomorrow morning on some Instagram page anywhere. But for everybody, Duke Seb, Prince of Dim Sum, Hassan, David, 1987, Duke Seb, I probably said that already, Lockpick. I feel like there's more people. There was somebody. There was Simulator Adventures. Mark, obviously. What was the other gentleman that came in that wasn't? I'm assuming was a guy. There I go assuming gender again. What was the name? There was another person here who was chatting earlier. Oh, Systematic Audit. Yes, that's who it was. Kevin K, who was here in the beginning. To all of you, thank you so much. You guys were awesome. Duke Seb, somewhere. I don't know why I'm thinking Duke Seb. All right, everybody clap for Duke Seb. Fine. Duke, thank you for being here. And thank you for being here all the time. And as it says at the bottom, right down here, next week, it'll be Saturday, not Sunday. So I'm going to hang out with my mom on Sunday. So we're going to do the live stream, 3 p.m. Yeah. So I will see you guys then, as long as Mark Harnum lets me out in time to do the live stream. Anyway, you guys were awesome. You guys were amazing. I'm going to actually go back, Simulator, and check the audio on the beginning of the stream where we're getting the weird panning issue that you were describing. You're probably right. It probably is there. I think it was that mono button because I think we fixed it in that moment. But thank you all so much for coming in. I will see you on Saturday at 3 p.m. if you're so inclined to join the live stream. But in the meantime, everybody is saying bye. And you know what? We will do this. Kevin says, cheers, everyone. Simulator, wave. David, wave. Hassan, wave. Simulator says, see you. All right. My name is Sean. This has been Tech Mixer. I am damn hungry, and I'm out.